I'm David Snyder, and on behalf of the CGESD Governing Board, we want to salute the scholars of the class of 2020, and we want to honor their teachers whose invaluable legacy will live on in their students.
The teacher that helped me through my 2 years of middle school was Miss Arnowski. She was the best teacher I ever had. Whenever I was sad or mad, she always knew and tried to help. I was so glad I had her 2 days in a row. It was amazing. And although some of the teachers were great, none of them compared to Miss Arnowski.
There have been many influential teachers in my school years. One of those teachers is Mr. Martinez. There have been times when I felt that I couldn't play something. Mr. Martinez would come and say, okay, try this or change that. Mr. Martinez has definitely been an influential teacher in my school years.
I have been attending Cactus Middle School for the past 3 years. It has helped me grow so much, but I was most impacted by Mr. G. He was not only a great teacher, but he was a humorous, motivating, and encouraging one. And his main goal was just to get us to read a book. I'm very thankful for having Mr. G as my language arts teacher throughout my middle school experience.
I feel the teacher that was very inspirational to me this year was my math teacher, Mrs. Weisberger. She'd always have an answer ready for me, and they always helped me succeed. And I looked up to her on how she made everyone feel important.
My most influential educator would have to be Miss Neiman. She was the first one to inspire me to work harder and made me like school. My fondest memories are when I was there. It was her that challenged me and brought me to think of a higher standard of myself.
I'd like to inform you of one special teacher and how she has impacted not only my school career, but my daily life as well. That teacher is Miss Dickey. She helped me realize who I am, who I wanted to become, and who I do not want to be. Miss Dickey did a lot for me, and I cannot thank her enough.
When my parents and I met Mr. G, my whole perspective on this middle school idea shifted. His class taught me so much beyond just literature. It taught me integrity, it taught me responsibility, and so much more.
When it comes to a teacher who has helped me thrive the most while attending CGMS, Mrs. Andrew instantly comes to mind. Whenever I think of Mrs. Andrew, I think of a kind, selfless individual who strives to help everyone with all her power.
When they told me to write about a teacher who inspired us, a teacher who guided and encouraged us through these years, the first person that popped into my mind was Miss Andrew. In the past 3 years, Miss Andrew has become my science teacher, student council advisor, science Olympiad coach, but most importantly, my role model.
My name is Nathan Long, and my favorite teacher is Mrs. Barrick. She has taught me numerous life skills that will help me succeed as I move forward into high school and then college. One of the things she taught me is to be a team player and a team leader.
Hi, my name is Marisela Ariola, and this is my one-page essay to my most influential teacher, Mr. Graham. Mr. Graham has helped me learn and grow, not only as a student, but as a person these past 2 years that I've had him as a teacher.
I've had the pleasure of spending my middle school years at CGMS. I feel this has made me the best student I could possibly be. I also feel I have a particular teacher who has had a great influence on my growth in education here at CGMS, and that teacher is Mr. Graham. Mr. Graham has always inspired me to learn as much as possible, not only in school, but outside of school too.
Although there are many amazing and wonderful teachers in my life, it was hard to choose just one. But there was a teacher who stood out to me, Miss Archibald. She has pushed me to do so much more than I ever thought I could, in not just her class, but in all of my studies, and even my after-school activities.
Although there are many teachers who are deserving of such recognition, I have chosen to share where I feel that Miss Melanie Southern has influenced me the most. I also remember a math class where kids were actually excited to go to, a class with a fun-hearted teacher who cared about the kids in her class more than anyone else.
I chose to recognize Mr. Yost because he taught me a lot about history and went beyond my expectations. His class was extremely structured. Mr. Yost has always been so consistent on getting out assignments, and he always put his teaching first.
Mr. G has been not only an inspiration for me, but so many of my other classmates. He's always encouraged everyone to not just be themselves, but to be the best version of themselves. I never would have grown this much as a person if it wasn't for his help. So to you, Mr. G, please keep encouraging your students as you always have.
Mr. Miller has been one of the best teachers I've been taught by since preschool to 8th grade. Thank you, Mr. Miller, for taking the time to help me realize that anything is possible if I put my mind to it. I'm going to miss you in high school, and I hope to go back and visit you again.
Hi, my name is Cale Davis, and the teacher I chose was Mr. Altoff. With the combination of an amazing way of teaching plus a relaxed classroom, I was able to make the most of my learning. So, Mr. Altoff, thank you.
During my 3 years at Volago, I believe that all my teachers were incredible people, and I apologize that I couldn't choose everyone. But there were two people who really stood out for me. I spent all 3 years with them, one as a coach and the other as a teacher. These two had a huge influence on the way I learned and the way I performed. My two nominees for top 8 are Mr. G and Mr. Escone.
You've taught me new things in English, but you've also taught me something else very important to me. You taught me that going through rough times doesn't change who you are as a person. Having you as my teacher has honestly changed my life. Can't imagine being one of the top 8 students without you. And so I wanted to say thank you very much, Mr. Millers.
When I learned I had received this award, Mrs. Yost automatically came to mind, and I knew there was no other teacher who could embody everything she was for me. Mrs. Yost is one of the few teachers who took the time to really get to know me as an individual and learn who I am. Mrs. Yost gave the best advice and would always tell me what I needed to hear, even if it wasn't what I wanted to hear.
I chose Mr. Miller as my teacher, my inspiring teacher. He's always helped me with my schoolwork and my stress levels. I really appreciate him doing all that for me, and he makes us be the best that we can be.
Dear Mr. Miller, you have helped me a lot this year. When I was overwhelmed with how much stuff I had to handle at the beginning of the year, you helped me organize it and calm me down. At the beginning of the year, I thought I would have to quit volleyball for the year because of all the things I was in, but because of your help, I didn't. I got through all of 8th grade with a 4.0 and played on a club volleyball team. I need to work to achieve my goals, not put them off till later. That's what you taught me.
I'm Roger Kapara. I'm writing about the teacher that had the most impact on me, Mr. Altoff. Every day I walked into your classroom and I was excited to be there. This never comes out of my mouth, but you weren't just a teacher to me, you were a friend. And not just any friend, you were my friend. My family and I will never forget you. Goodbye for now, my friend.
The teacher that I chose that was most influential to me was Miss Yost. I chose her because she always pushed me to be a better version of myself. Her positivity always put me in such a good mood. She took her time and dedicated it to the things she loved, and I took that and applied it to myself. Miss Yost always saw the sunshine in a bunch of clouds.
Visit us online at www.cgesd.org.